What's up, YouTube? Here with my boy Rob Trigg, Braxton Harrison, Jason Witherspoon with his laptop out. Guys, we're going over the state of the union in real estate. Market's a little weird right now. We're going to dive into it right after this message from our sponsors. If you like what you seen here,
That's not it.
that's a good one though. Let it roll. Braxton on Tinder and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just keep swiping. He's on there.
All right, and we're out.
That's so good.
That's the end.
That's so good.
Also brought to you by GBT Investments.
Hold on.
GBT Property Management.
GBT
But
Beyond.
this, if y'all are wondering what this is behind me, this is not a Christmas tree. Spoon, what is that?
It looks like the Grinch.
It is the Grinch.
If
We
I had
had
to guess.
breakfast with the Grinch this morning. Do I
So
look
cool.
like a man that ate breakfast with the Grinch this
Yes.
morning?
Absolutely,
you ate
100%.
Y'all are assholes.
Kind of look like you ate the Grinch.
Like, I feel like he
Rob
left
and I
there.
have a
I feel like the
special segment
Grinch
for
left there
later.
crying. Like, he was like, why is that dude so mean?
Y'all are just absolutely rude.
Yeah, we've got a pre-planned segment. We're going to go into that. And
Well, Emery sent this with me. She said, you got to take this with you. I said, I'm going to podcast. She's like, yeah, show it to the podcast. So in the comment section, y'all tell Emery what y'all think about the about her Grinch in the background right there. So
it's good.
The use of the tissue paper gems is fantastic. It shows the texture. Used a multimedia approach
You know,
there
I do a
to
very good impression of the Grinch.
give the.
Dude,
do
Let's
you?
hear
Yeah,
it
that's
right
true.
now.
Want to hear it?
Yes.
yeah,
Want to hear it right now? Like
right
on
now,
the
right
spot?
now.
4 o'clock. I can't cancel that.
Damn.
It's pretty good.
That is really good.
I do a Mickey Mouse too. It drives my kids crazy.
Yeah.
Hi, kids.
Okay, you're going to get us copyright strikes. So,
I feel
Spoonie,
like you should also be driving an ice cream van right now.
Of course.
Spoonie, what do you got?
I got all the stuff, man.
Do you got
I
all the stuff? You look a little stressed out over there. You missed last week. What happened last week?
I had the flu and strep.
Okay. We don't believe that, but
I don't care.
all right. You better now?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Okay, so what really happened?
No, I had the flu and strep.
We
I
never
was
saw
still
the
coughing
test.
pretty hard.
Was there a test?
Did that-
okay.
nobody ever
Actually,
saw
Can you
it.
produce it like right now?
Probably try to pull up my medical records if you want to see my HIPAA records here. Let's-
All right. So we got a deal.
HIPAA. He had to throw HIPAA. in
Yeah,
because
I mean,
I'm asking.
That way I can sue later.
Well, he's
no,
not
I'm
the-
asking. You don't have
Rob
to show.
isn't the hospital. He has a right to your medical records.
I did not know that.
That's the difference.
Actually, well, it's part of the jet lending documents. You have to list him as a beneficiary and first point of
One
contact.
day, I'm going to be a very, very, very wealthy man.
If everybody just somehow passed away.
Yeah.
Spoonie, do we have any deals closing this week? So we lost the owner finance deal because we did all the paperwork on the wrong house. That was
That is true.
So is that dead or waiting for new title work?
no. Well,
So they viewed the wrong house.
they viewed the wrong house. We own
Okay.
2 houses in the same town. They viewed the wrong house and they got there to close it, and they were like, "This ain't the house we wanting to buy. We want to buy this other one." And so we had to just swap all the paperwork over. But we don't have a title run. They're both the same price. Don't really matter. Both same thing. So, anyways, it'll take till the 16th to get that one closed. That's owner finance, $6,000. Did the Fox Note fund? Do you know that?
I want to say that it did.
So, Spoon's shaking his head.
I don't know.
Don't know. That one was a bank deal. So, Rob,
Okay.
we owner financed a house.
Okay.
We used private money. Owner financed the house. We did a cross collateralization because the state of Texas don't like wraps.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a cross collateralization. List the note out. I mean, how long have we been in the sales process on this note?
3 months more.
And we're like, this is so aggravating. We're just mad. We're like, no, the buyer's still good. We just got to get this one piece of paperwork signed, the e-stoppel, which is weird because the guy's a buyer. An e-stoppel is normally something you get filled out by a renter. I mean, it's just basically saying.
Stoppel of rents.
No, e-stoppel just says this is what I believe our agreement is.
Okay.
This is what I've agreed to. So a landlord could say, I rented this to him for $1,000 a month. The tenant could say, no, we had an agreement for $400 a month and I mow the grass. and there's a discrepancy there. So you get e-stoppels
I got you.
to make sure that they're both the same.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in an owner finance transaction, it still serves the same purpose. Hey, this is what I believe to be true. What they're saying is true. But it was a big stickler, and the guy works out of town.
Yeah.
Where was he at?
I don't really know.
He's in another state. So, anyways, he finally got back home and signed his e-stoppel, which had to be notarized. And boom, deal goes through. Well, we find out it's because a bank was loaning. The guy went to the bank and said, I want to borrow money and go buy a mortgage note. And the bank loaned him money. Now, I've heard of people using
Was it a signature loan? What kind of loan? I mean,
No,
they just gave him
it's a collateralized loan
on real estate.
on the note on real estate.
Oh.
So it would be the equivalent of how Jet uses credit lines, and ultimately, you know what I mean? Jet's first lien position, but the bank's got the note that Jet creates as collateral.
Yes.
That's what he did, but he went into a bank and said, hey, I want to go buy real estate notes. And they said, yeah, we'll loan on them. And he's out shopping and buying real estate notes. Now, I don't know what their lending criteria is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know any of those things, but I do know that we're going to go meet with them on Friday to see if they will, so if we pull together a group of notes, so we own or finance 5 houses and we're using private money. So we've got, let's say, $500,000 in private money tied up over here. Will the bank come take out the private money?
So you can have it online.
So we can, and then we go do it again, and then the bank takes out the private money, and then we go do it again, and
Refining notes.
refinancing notes.
Not a bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a whole strategy that's taught
Not
out
a bad
there.
strategy at all.
It's a whole strategy that's taught, but the banking relationship being key, and in this environment, it's hard to get banking relationships. If you've got banking relationships already, they'll ride with you. But if you go into a bank stranger danger, they want to ride with the devil they know, not the one they don't. Like right now, if you've got a limited amount of money, are you going to loan it to Braxton that you know, or a stranger that comes in off the street?
I'm going with Braxton.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just the same
I'm
thing.
going with the people I trust.
That's right.
What's
so,
I wonder what the default kind of, what that looks like. Like if I'm the bank, I'm loaning on you buying notes. If you default,
they get all the notes.
yeah, but I wonder what that procedure looks like. Like, do you have to claim? How do you foreclose on a note? Like, how do you take that?
It's
collateral?
It's still tied to real estate.
Yeah, so all they're gonna do is send out the proper notices to take that collateral, and the note servicer will then start paying the bank instead of paying us. Now, I don't know what that official document looks like, but there's no foreclosure.
Like how you wipe out the original guy's first lien position, I guess.
No, it'll still be. I mean, it'll be some sort of document filed. I don't know what the actual process will be, but I know it won't be a full foreclosure.
Curious to see what that would look like. That's interesting.
Because
Well, you hope you never get to that position.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it's, could be litigated, but I'll bet you that the ripcord could be pulled at any time. I bet you they got all kinds of technical defaults in there. You know what I mean?
To make
Well,
sure
the
it's
bank's going to
easy.
protect themselves. I mean,
Yeah,
they're not going to go in this blind and say, hey, here's $500,000 or $1 million.
That we don't know how to easily.
Yeah, easily
Easily
get
get
back
back.
quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's even better. I mean, even on a big commercial loan, a non-recourse commercial loan, a recourse commercial loan. So let's say Spoon signs it down and says, hey, look, I'm going to sign my name on this document personally guaranteeing this loan. Okay. So the very first thing the bank's going to take from you if you're in default of the loan on an apartment building is what?
The real estate.
No,
What then?
your rents. It's the very first thing they got. The very first thing they got claimed to is your rents. So they'll step in and they'll start fighting you for the rents. Okay. What's the next thing they're going to do?
Real estate?
The real estate. What's the last thing they're going to do?
You personally?
Yeah.
The guarantor.
Yes. They're coming after you.
Okay.
Now that's been told to me by people because there are large net worth individuals out there that will sign a personal guarantee for you for a fee. So they'll join in on the deal with you. They'll want equity on the deal, and a payment. Like, so, you know, if they sign a personal guarantee, they want $10,000 per million or whatever it is paid to them cash because they're going to personally guarantee that loan, right?
But they also know that they're last in line to.
They also know they're last in line on getting their actual credit banged.
When would they go for the guarantor then? Like, if the asset that they take back doesn't.
No rents, shitty real estate, personal guarantor.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what I mean? If you mismanage that project so bad that they cannot,
Neither of those recapitalize.
then they're gonna come after him.
Okay.
So I mean that's how he explained it to me. So that's where I got that information from. Rob,
Yes.
what are you doing?
I'm sitting here listening to you spit knowledge.
How many loans you gonna close this month?
Probably 20.
In December.
Maybe more.
In December.
Yeah, I closed. Me personally, I closed 20. The company closed something like 30 something total.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you're doing 20 loans a month in the teeth of a recession.
I mean, no matter what, I mean, my average is about 20 loans a month. I mean, over the last year.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a dip as far as, I mean, like we said, like we've said previously, no matter what, now's the time to buy.
Now is the time
If
to
you
buy.
think real estate's expensive, just wait.
Spoon, guy that's related to your granddad or whatever, was taught shop by your granddad.
Oh.
What's that deal listed for on MLS right now?
250.
No.
Dude, it was 2 something.
Do you remember?
I don't know what deal you're talking about.
The lake house.
The lake house. We contracted yesterday.
220.
225. What do you got it contracted for, Spoonie?
It's 130.
130. On MLS. It's listed on the market. We contacted them before it was listed and gave them our cash price. And when they came back, we're like, we can't pay that anymore. We just got done with a refinance on a bank loan, got 9% interest. Now that shaves another 30 off of our offer. So we originally were going to pay them 160 for it, but because in the interest rate environments, well, we can't. We it literally won't cash flow if it's kind of like this. And Spoon hates whenever I talk about this, but sometimes when you're early on in this business, you put the seller's needs before your own, and then you got to go back and look at your family in the eyes when you're writing a check every month to own real estate. And if you're not willing to go explain it to your kids why you're $25,000 or $2,500 a month cash flow negative, you know what I mean? If you don't want to explain it to your kids, then you better figure out how to explain it to the seller to get it at the price that you need.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, because we all did that, or I did that at least. I was trying to take care of the buyers. Maybe Braxton never did
Sellers.
that, or sellers, excuse me, and not taking care of my family when I needed to.
Well, and look, we're bigger now. We have a lot more bandwidth. So we had a guy on his deathbed, and we had an original agreement. We had this throughout all of our peak purchases. That even Cameron, that's closing hopefully this week, you know, a peak purchase. We're rolling out of them, and we're making a marginal amount of money on them. Not what we expected to make, but we're making money on them. And some of them we will take a loss on. Some of them we will sell at a loss. We'd rather lose $2,000 a day, you know what I mean, to get away from a project that requires more than what we can give it right now. But within that, we had a guy that was on his deathbed, and that property is going to end up in our rental portfolio. It's a $300,000 property in a lower interest rate environment. We bought it for $140,000. We'll be into it a roof, a little bit of flooring, and whatever Spoon charges us to do electric panel. Which what do you think? Electric
$2,500.
$2,500.
All the parts.
So we'll have an electric panel, roof, a little bit of flooring, and some paint. So call it $15,000, and we're gonna be in it $160,000 after refinance and everything. It's gonna rent out for $1,900 a month. It's gonna cash flow poquito, a little bit, little bit. But we kept our word to the seller because he was on his deathbed. We needed to retrade it. We knew with interest rates going up, we needed to retrade it, but it was right there at the end. Homie's gonna die, and you know we paid too much for it, so I didn't take my own advice. But we are a bigger company now. It's not gonna break us. And with a 5-year horizon or a 10-year horizon, that real estate's gonna go back to $300,000 as soon as interest rate comes down, and we'll realize that gain a little bit later. And that's just life, you know. But also that rent, you know, that $1,900 a month rent helped out, and that was before we got 9% interest rates. That 9%, we underwrote that one at 7. 9 hurt. It hurt bad. So guys, drop it in the comment section. Ask our questions. We got Rob here. Spoonie got more updates for us. Owner finance deal not going to close till the 16th now. Cameron, when does it close?
We don't have a hard date on it yet. They were hoping to get it done this week.
We got a flaccid date on Cameron?
Flaccid date. When I checked yesterday, they were like, well, if we can get all the paperwork straight on it. That was from the title company.
What a weird answer. Braxton, you ever get answers like that?
What? Like I don't know the date?
Nah, we just stuck it to them. We've been like, bro, that's unprofessional. Close this bitch on Friday.
Like, hey, look, this is when it needs to. You got to create a little urgency there.
I just want to make sure that we get this out of the way. I went ahead and pulled those medical records for you so you can look at them.
I don't want to see these. I don't want to see them because
there it is.
I don't want to be in suit.
That was a flaccid wiener.
Yeah.
It's semi-hard. It always is.
Jason,
when you're around.
keep it professional, man.
Yeah,
keep it professional.
I don't understand why he showed me his medical records. It said something
just
about
asked for
herpes on there.
Yeah, it didn't say if it was positive or negative. It just said the test.
Type A, 2, 1.
All of them. It just said all.
All. It's positive.
Dang.
I did see a plus sign.
Rob, is Jet Lending going to quit lending?
No, absolutely not.
What's it going to take for Jet to stop lending?
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak on the owner's behalf, but I guess I will. I guess for us to stop lending, we'd have to take a bunch of properties back and lose a bunch of money on some deals.
Jet, they do such a good job of underwriting the deals that even if they do take them back, they're just going to put a tenant in it.
Yeah, I mean that's what's going to happen. I mean, but honestly, I can't predict the future, and God, I hope it doesn't happen. But we would have to take back like a 2008, 2007 take back for us to stop lending, which Eddie has preached several times. Hurt him then, and he's not willing to take those hits now. That's why we're being a lot more careful on our underwriting up front right now. If you don't have cash, we're not doing the deal. I mean, I had to break somebody's heart yesterday, to break their whole heart. Had a great deal, going to be zero out of pocket, had $4,000 in the bank. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk. How can we make this happen for you? Well, I've only got $4,000 in the bank. I was like, okay, what else do you got? Well, I've got properties that I've got, I'm at 70% on most of them. I was like, well, okay, we'd have to pretty much refinance all of them. And she's at 3s and 2s, I'm like,
no, don't do that.
I was like, don't do that. I was like, no. I if I was you, I would
wholesale that deal.
Wholesale that deal, or find you a liquidity partner to come in with you. So there's people out there that would, be willing to partner with you on a deal.
Are you marrying people? Are you making that introductions? Do you have people that are deal poor, cash rich, and people that are
I need to start doing that. I don't. I really don't.
Making introductions. Say, hey, look.
I don't. I do make some introductions and say, hey, look, maybe this person could help you out. But at the end of the day, and we can really dive into this, I don't really like making recommendations.
Because it makes you look bad if it goes bad.
Yes. I don't like making any recommendations. And we'll tell a little story here. This guy kind of came back around. I recommended this contractor to some investors down in Texas City, and he had a good track record, the contractor, and I recommended it. I said, but I told the guys, I said, look, this is just a recommendation. You need to do your own due diligence. You need to actually vet this guy for yourself. And they said, okay, yeah, we got it. And they met with him, blah, blah, blah. He ran off with $10,000 of their money.
Happens all the time.
And they were mad at you.
Oh, no, threatened my kids, my wife, me, said they were coming to my house and they were going to shoot up my house. And I'm like, yes, this happened. Absolutely happened. And I said, okay.
I mean, first rule of
Fight Club is
agree.
We don't talk about it.
No, just agree. All right. Okay.
No, I did. I said, well, first of all, I was like, okay, come on and shoot me. Do what you got to do. I was like, but at the end of the day, I've got the text messages to prove that I told you needed to vet this guy. I've got everything that I need in text, because every phone call I had back then,
Recorded.
I always followed up with a text message. Hey, this is what we talked about, blah, 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 or an email. Don't do it so much now because I just don't even make any recommendations. After that, I was just like, nope, I'm done.
Well,
I mean, it takes one bad, sorry person to.
Rob, you can always recommend us as a partner for your people
but
that need.
I don't want Spoon to come shoot up my house.
Spoon ain't got any about that life.
He's afraid of guns.
Yeah, Spoon.
Yeah, I don't believe in guns.
He, you know.
No.
I don't believe in guns. I had one, and it scared me so bad I threw it in a ditch, just haphazardly.
I mean,
Obviously, you got it out of your locked storage with ammo stored separately, right?
Oh, I never bought ammo for it. I was that scared of it. I was just like,
that's much smarter.
it's going to be worth the threat. Of
Somehow
just,
I feel like that's not true.
oh, sir, I would never invest in things
I
like
mean,
that.
I don't know how I would handle that if somebody was making those claims to me.
Had all kinds of claims, like Buffalo
what-
dude threatening to come kill you at your house.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I mean, stuff happens. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
the
I'm-
lady like burning effigy on your front
Whoa,
porch.
Well, yeah, that I did have a stalker.
Yeah.
She's a nice lady.
Yeah, but honestly, that was the one and only time in the last December 1st made 6 years that I was with Jet, and that was the one and only time that I've ever been threatened. And I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going down that road. It's not worth it to me. It's not. You go vet your own people. You go find your own people. I'm your lender. That's what I'm here for. Now, if you call me and say I'm in dire need of a foundation guy or something, or like a specialty item, I will be able to. I do make those recommendations, but as far as a general contractor to oversee the whole, no, I'm not doing that.
Our first foray into general contractors, they stole 10 grand from us.
Yeah.
It's a nice round number. But here's how they do it. Here's the game on general contracting. They show up. They say, hey, I need a draw for materials. You give them the draw for materials, and they show up and do a shit job. And they just start out doing a shit job, and you're like trying to fire them, but get some of your money back because the materials aren't on site.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I mean, it's almost a racket, a hustle.
So how do you mitigate those situations?
People would tell you with a good, strong contract, but then you got to litigate that contract. So really, the only way to do it is you don't pay for more work than what's been done, and you buy the materials and deliver the materials, or
what I
buy
was
the
gonna
material and hold on to materials.
You as the investor should always buy the materials. They are the labor. You are the materials purchaser. Look, if you're in the rehab and you're doing buy, fix, and hold, buy, fix, and sell, it doesn't matter. You are the general contractor. You have to manage those materials. That way, okay, yeah, you're out $5,000 in labor, but you
Yes.
still got the $5,000 in materials sitting there.
But it also depends on experience.
Yeah.
I mean, our contractor is not nefarious in any way, shape, or form, but he would rather have too many materials on the job. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
He would rather get more material than he need than have to run to the parts store 20 times. And I'm the same way because time is way more valuable
it
than
is.
an extra bundle of shingles.
Yeah.
But homie takes that extra bundle home with him every single time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, he's got rentals too. He's got more rentals than I got.
this is true. But when I go to his house, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got he takes the cabinets out of our flips that are good, that will work in something else, and he stores them in his space.
That's smart.
It is smart, but what I'm saying is, like, when you're new, your exposure will be less if you do buy the materials, but people will still get it where they can.
Yeah.
They'll get the extra materials if they're nefarious. They'll get the extra materials and take it back for a cash refund or store credit, and then they'll go get them some tools. I mean, there's all kinds of hustles.
Electrical, the job superintendent over buying on wire so they can strip wire on the weekends to get
Yeah.
beer money, and that all is pushed to your customer coming off your bottom line.
Yeah, so
Like-
you're just know that in this game, if you run across a bad apple, good or bad, you know what I mean? You'll pay for it one way or another. I mean, one of my mentors always says they're going to steal from you regardless. They're going to steal from you regardless. Don't worry about that. Even people that don't know they're stealing from you are stealing from
Yeah.
you. Because, I mean, Brenton's not a thief. He's probably watching right now. He's not a thief.
Well, he's still on
guarantee-
oxygen.
Well, but he's not working as hard as he would if Braxton's sitting next to him.
Sure.
Right.
So he's today.
Stealing time.
Well, not really. I mean, he's getting
I
paid.
don't think it's in.
We're
It-
stealing
it-
time.
People will you have to underwrite it all. You have, like, if somebody gives you a $60,000 bid, know it's going to be 80, know you're going to eat 20, and get the equity on the negotiation and get it at a deeper discount.
Exactly.
Especially in today's market.
Yes.
We just did one, and I'm at fault, but there's nothing you can do when you're in that situation, and
Except.
well, hold on. We bought a property that we paid too much for. It was a prison property. Now, prison properties are hard to buy. Have you ever called an inmate?
No.
Okay, they're hard to call. Okay, they don't.
I would imagine they don't just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, how you doing?
So the entire
Want to go to lunch?"
The entire transaction of buying a property from the inmate is them getting mail from us, which was amazing that they got it in prison to begin with, calling us on their 2-minute landline. Like, Braxton's literally got a timer in the background. You got 1 minute left. Or calling you collect, which is another deal, and negotiating this price, but then snail mailing a contract to the prison, them snail mailing it back to you signed with whatever adjustments they made on the contract. You then getting it to title, them drawing up closing, them snail mailing the closing documents to the prison, them signing the closing documents and snail mailing them back to the title company. And then the title company gets the documents and says, yes, we're going to fund this deal, and snail mailing a check. Well, this is where our deal fell apart. They snail mailed the check to the prison. Well, guess what they did? They transferred the prisoner. So they got their little snail mail check, and it can't go into the proper trust account or however they cash their checks in prison.
Go on his book.
So it just gets mailed back to the title company. And we're waiting for that deal to fund before we can start work on it. And so it just doesn't. How long did it take to fund? A couple months?
Yeah, I mean, it was several weeks, and it was just like, we don't know where she's at. She's moved around several times. It's like
they moved this lady around in whatever prison system, and the check just keeps getting mailed back to the title company. And then one day, title calls us and says, "Hey, that check cashed." Well, what happened in the 2 months of chasing this lady down? Interest rates went up 1.5%.
Yeah.
Our window on that deal, you know what I mean? It just got worse and worse. So it's like what we originally thought we could do with the property, we're like, instead of doing that, we're going to Taj Mahal it, and we turned our contractor loose. So we originally thought we'd have 70 in that property and rent it out. Now we got 100 in it, and we're going to try to sell it. But it's a 2-bath. I mean, you walked it. Mm-hmm. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Did you see it the day I kicked the door in?
I saw it probably the
I saw
next
that
week
video.
after. And I watched that video.
I saw that video.
Yeah.
Yeah. The day you kicked the door in.
The day I kicked the door in.
Yeah.
That property's now done and on the market for $160,000. If it doesn't sell, we'll rent it for $1,400 a month. But it is a bulletproof property now. Granite, tile showers.
For at least the next 10 years.
No, I mean we ain't gonna own it 10 years. I don't think. I'll bet it hit. What it did help us do was this property would have hit the market in October. Now it's hitting the market in the end of December, and it'll hit the good.
It's not a bad
selling
time
season.
to buy properties. Investors are buying properties in the month of December like crazy. Why, Braxton?
He said that thing about property taxes today, and I didn't really understand that.
So people buy at the end of the year so that they've got so they can write it off on their taxes.
So you realize
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why?
Because it's not a write-off.
Yes, it is.
Which part of buying a house is a write-off?
The investment side of it, the money you spend on it, all that stuff.
I mean,
The property taxes is what he said,
if you're
right?
pushing all your
The
money
property
back
taxes,
in,
the property taxes would be, but no, it would be depreciation if you're going to hold it long term.
so maybe 1031 and into it just to pack your money back and not have to pay taxes on it.
No,
1031 isn't yearly.
1031
It's like
isn't tax.
it's a rolling timer.
Yeah, no, it would be the only thing that if you're trying to buy in December, the only reason why you're trying to close in December would be because you're going to hold it long term and you get to take the depreciation for that property. The 20s,
You get your first year.
you get your first year depreciation, and if they're doing cost seg, they could get all the personal property, all the bonus depreciation. If they're going to hold it long term, if they're going to flip it, you need to talk to your CPA. But I'm just guessing that anybody that's doing that might need a new CPA.
Okay.
But I don't know what their strategy is. If they're going to hold it long term, if you're closing at the end of, so if you've got everything lined up, and do you know how to get the bonus depreciation, the cost seg?
You have to independent analyst or something.
You have to have somebody go out there and stamp off on it that the
cost
flooring,
segregator. I don't know what it is.
it's a CPA of some sort. So you got to have that duck in a row, but you can get all that bonus depreciation.
I'm pretty sure they're licensed and everything, but it has to be like an independent something.
Yeah, you can get all that bonus depreciation and claim it all this year. I mean, Spoon did it a couple of years ago. What'd you buy in December?
Oh, an excavator. We bought a skid loader. Like we bought about 400 grand worth of equipment.
We said
No, I guess it was 350 on that, and we had bought the 40 the year before.
What? That's one tractor, right?
Two and some equipment. I mean,
That shit's expensive.
Some
well,
heads.
this excavator was 100, and then we spent 140 on the, or 120 on the skid loader and everything else.
all
There's
the
other
attachments.
stuff,
Yeah.
other stuff in there too.
And then we bought a $105,000 tractor this year. I've been shredding Spoon's place with it.
You mean the one that wouldn't crank the other day? So what happened with that?
I called the dealership. I finally got so mad at it, I called the dealership, and we got great video of that coming out, by the way, on YouTube. So
You yelling at the dealer?
subscribe. No. Of what led up to me yelling at the dealer, but it's a sensor.
Oh.
It's a sensor somewhere. What they said is the tractor's still in gear, and I'm like, it's not in gear. We've pulled it. I thought it was that. I thought it was because when you stall it, you're in gear, and so I thought it was binding.
Like,
And
because it's
whenever
hydrostatic, right?
Yeah, well, no, it's not hydrostatic, but I thought it was binding.
Power
And
shuffle.
whenever you put it back
Shuttle.
in neutral, it wasn't unbinding. So we tied his truck to it and pulled it around to try to make it unbind.
Nothing.
It didn't do anything.
Oh.
But
brand new wouldn't crank.
no, it's a sensor somewhere. And they're like, bring it up here. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how that works.
We brought it up there for its first service and got it back a month later. We still haven't got our grappler for it, so maybe that's in now, and they can just put the grappler on and put that new sensor on under warranty. But I'm going to finish my shredding out in Clifton before then, and then take it to Shane's house and finish his shredding. But yeah, so it's just one of those weird deals. But I think I killed that skunk. I think he died of a heart attack. I don't know how I hit him. I really, he had to just run perfectly under that tire.
He probably didn't even see it. It was dark.
I must have, but I was like, because I knew that he had sprayed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew he had sprayed because I was in the tractor and it was just progressively the smell was just getting worse and worse. It's sinking in. I'm like, I know he sprayed. I know he sprayed, but I'm going to sit here and try to get this thing to start. And then when I open the door to go step out, he is right at the step. And I'm like, son of a bitch. And then it was in my mouth. It's in my clothes.
That's such a great smell.
Isn't it?
Dude, it was
It's
terrible.
amazing.
I was like, what? But and the bad part was, you know what I was trying to do?
You sure you didn't shoot that skunk?
I did not shoot that
You
skunk.
had a gun on you.
I did, but it was a drill rifle. Did you know what I was trying to do when I saw the skunk? You know how I stalled it? I was trying to lift up the bat wing, and I dropped them. I
jammed it right into the
I
dirt.
jammed it right into the dirt and killed it, trying to keep from just chopping the skunk into a million pieces.
Which would have been a better plan because at least it'd been behind you.
I was like, I don't want to deal with the skunk smell, and then I got it right in my mouth.
So the last one I had to dispose of because it was in the chicken coop. Like, I didn't realize when I started disposing of it. I mean, it comes out in a stream. Like, you could actually see it. I'd never seen one discharge like that. It was like,
You never seen anybody
pretty cool.
discharge like that?
I thought it was like a fog or something. And no, I still don't know. I still don't listen, bro. I still don't even know how I had 4 kids. Like, I don't get it. If you can explain it to me later, that'd be great.
Well,
We'll need a whiteboard.
and lots of
I would like to hear.
charts and
We could go through the ages. I'd like to hear him explain it, then you explain it, and then
Were
then
you
Rob.
there? That property we bought over by Hubbard, the original
Yeah.
tractor purchase.
Yeah.
Were you there when we killed that skunk?
No, but you were there when I was pulling them rat snakes out of the stuff.
Oh yeah. So
They don't like snakes.
they built a
I don't like snakes either.
floor.
I don't like snakes and people, and I don't like snakes, period.
They built a floor out of cinder blocks in this pole barn where they put their hay, but the holes on the cinder blocks lined up. They didn't stagger them, so they lined up perfectly. And so we're pulling. I don't remember what we're throwing away, but we're loading up dump trailers, and we pull it out, and there's a skunk.
Ugh.
And he takes off running, and he gets into one of those tubes on the cinder blocks. And so he's running down the tubes on the cinder block. And I think it was DJ that's like, oh, I'm going to shoot him. We're like, how are you going to shoot him? He's like, I'm just going to shoot down the. I'm like, I'm not going to be around when this happens.
We'll be in the car.
And so he shot down the tube of the cinder block, and we're like, there's no way you hit that skunk. He's still going to be in there. You know what I mean? He's going to come running out at some point and spray us all. Nah, he hit him. Killed him. Dead. We found him, the next day or whatever when we cleaned it up. Just shot. So
I haven't had very many run-ins with skunks.
Oh man, we get them all the time.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just lucky.
I've messed with the possums because they're funny. I don't really mind them. Like, they're just hilarious to mess with. But skunks, you got to get them out of there. They're like they eat chickens.
Well, so still doing a lot of deals. Do you think it's going to pick up in the spring? Do you think lending wise?
So since the last time I was here, we had an election.
Yeah.
And what changed?
Not much, but enough.
What changed? What did change, though?
Well, we're going to have a lame duck president.
Yeah, for 2 years. That's what changed. But did interest rates go down a little bit?
But that's a different deal. The consumer price index comes out, and for whatever reason, mortgage rates saw that little month over month of the inflation going down from 8.2 to I think 7.7, and they were like, that's it. And so interest rates dipped for just half a second down into the sixes.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're at now, but I was on that Twitter Spaces with Grant Cardone, and he said the biggest money on planet Earth right now is 7%. He was getting that for 1.6.
Jeez.
So
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, the big money went. And so another stat that he said, he did the math. Elon Musk did that Twitter Spaces the night before, and the guy, Elon said that he put $12 billion worth of debt on Twitter to buy it. So he leveraged it at $12 billion. And he said whenever he contracted or went into agreement with Twitter, interest rates were such and such, and now he was paying 7%. Do you know what the difference in debt service is per year on that money?
Yeah, it's just because you said it the other day.
$600 million a year.
It's absurd.
$600 million a year in extra debt service on Twitter alone because the interest rate rising. Now, some of the stats that I'm seeing and some of the stuff that I'm hearing, and I don't believe it because you know who BlackRock is, right? Who's BlackRock?
I don't know who BlackRock is.
You really don't know who BlackRock is?
Nope.
Who's BlackRock?
It's a large hedge fund home buyer.
No. I mean, yes, kind of. But
It's just like an institutional, like it's Wall Street money. It's
how much? What do you hear tossed around when people talk about BlackRock?
I mean, money that doesn't end, doesn't run out.
What billions?
Yeah.
I thought it was trillions.
I don't know who they are.
You don't know who BlackRock is?
I really don't.
Huge. I mean, they bought a whole development over here in Dallas. It made the news because they just came in and bought the whole thing, like 300.
Spoon's thinking real small right now.
No, I'm just saying, like they're a well-known.
Okay.
They did like some
ended.
absurd, like a couple million properties.
I don't know what they own. Y'all
thought it
thinking,
was like
y'all thinking
100,000.
itty bitty right now. Y'all thinking so tiny right now.
I'm not thinking at all because I don't know who they are.
Institutional
they
money.
have
But big is the biggest.
The biggest.
The number I heard.
You take Grant, Elon,
No.
Donald, put them all
They
together.
also own NBC, CBS, Comcast, CNN, Disney.
They own all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
1.7 trillion.
They're investors, so they have like 15% of all those.
1.7 trillion assets under management. 1.7 trillion.
Gee.
Is what I've heard. Now I don't know if that's right.
So BlackRock is who's really pulling the strings.
Well, BlackRock, you would think
they're the
pulling-
puppet master.
You would think
If
they're
they
pulling-
wanted to.
You would think they're pulling the strings, but here's what I heard. Here's exactly what I heard. I heard that BlackRock, when they bought all this bullshit that Spoon's talking about, all this real estate, because they just froze withdrawals. They
AUM 10 trillion.
there's no way. That's got to be. Well, if it's 10 trillion, it's 10 trillion.
Yeah, they sold their shares in MGM.
Yes. And then they froze withdrawals. Florida pulled all their money out. So they froze withdrawals, whatever. Doesn't matter. When you put your money in a hedge fund, can you get it out, Braxton?
No.
No. So, that's an irrelevant story. Like, if they let you take your money out, that's a favor they did you, not something they have to do. But this is what I heard. And I don't know why they would have done this. But they bought all their single-family portfolio that they were buying last year, they bought it with leverage, and it was adjustable rate leverage. So I don't understand that debt. All of our how long are our loans? 4, 5, or 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what. I mean, we have them 10 years.
What do you got?
I think all mine are 4-year arms.
So 4-year arms. Spoonie's a little bit in the weeds on this. Do you know what an arm is?
Yeah, adjustable rate mortgage.
Yeah, so it can readjust. What do yours have a cap?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They definitely got a cap. Small community bank's going to put a cap on it. So probably 2%. So whatever you got right now, they can probably only go up 2%.
Annually or
No.
over the course of the loan?
No, on the next arm. Next arm, they can probably only go up 2%. They probably capped it.
Gotcha.
Now, maybe in this lending environment, they're not capping it.
What are they capping at? Prime plus 2, prime plus 1?
No. They would cap it on an increase. So if you
On
got
your base.
6% on your base, on 6%, they would cap it and only go up 2%.
Okay.
So if you're at 6, the max they could go to is 8. They're not going to be able to, and it might be a regulatory thing. I don't know. But I don't think so. Allegedly, BlackRock bought all this stuff on a 1-year arm. Now, does it make sense for the most plugged-in money on planet Earth to not see the interest rates coming, the interest rate environment coming, and buy stuff on a 1-year arm?
They've got to know.
You would think they have to know. So, there's this conspiracy theory that part of what the Fed's trying to do is flush out, some of these big institutions.
Yeah, but they're not the people getting blindsided by it. I'm more
That's
like...
irrelevant.
And they're saying they are the ones getting blindsided by it.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
the information,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
the conspiracy theory says that the information that they had led them to believe that they would have a short window on these properties. They're essentially flipping properties. Now, I don't believe that for BlackRock. I do believe it for Zillow, Open Door, Redfin, all the home
Maybe
buyers.
BlackRock's trying to get them out of it.
They could buy as much as they wanted to buy anytime they wanted to buy.
I don't think they really have any competitors.
Maybe they're wanting those assets. Maybe that's why
They could buy those assets.
But
Yeah,
it,
but-
I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah, but at what cost?
Whatever they wanted to pay.
That's kind of thing. Like when you have 10 trillion, you can make the economy do what you want.
You're the market creator.
That's why I said they're the puppet master.
That's why I don't think that they would have not known this interest rate environment was coming.
I'm agreeing with you. It's like I don't think that's someone that can be blindsided by that. When
Yeah,
you literally can break or make the market at any given point.
They go have lunch with Jerome Powell and tell them what they want interest rates
I
to
believe
be.
that for sure.
I mean, there's no way.
And the people you're talking about getting blindsided, if the politicians think that they can blindside a BlackRock that's actually setting monetary policy, through their lobbying, these people are cannon fodder. We're cannon fodder in these deals. We're not even a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: it's not going to affect.
We're irrelevant.
Absolutely.
It's not going to affect the average American. BlackRock's money is probably a lot of boomers' retirement funds. Probably a ton of boomers have their money in BlackRock and don't even know it. They're in some weird mutual fund in their 401k, and it's just siphoned to BlackRock. A certain percentage goes to BlackRock. Probably not a lot of people chose, directly. I mean, big institutional money, insurance, life insurance policies, all that stuff probably put a little bit into BlackRock. But I don't think anybody, I don't think Spoon's like, you know what, I'm going to go buy some BlackRock.
yeah.
Braxton definitely hasn't. You own any other stock? You think your dad?
I don't think so.
But anyways, I don't think they would have got blindsided, and I don't think they would have done that. But that's the conspiracy theory, and it brought something to my attention though that I didn't realize. Do you don't talk to any big apartment investors?
A few.
I don't.
Not real big guys. No.
Which we're going to have a guy in here probably next week that's going to explain some of that debt to us. But they've got all these bridge loans and all these things. You understand cap rate, value add, all that kind of stuff. There's a dynamic now where, a lot of people didn't get equity when they bought. So they bought something and they had to do the value add of increasing the revenue and decreasing the expenses to get the value add, right? To make it worth more. And so they thought they could do this in a, say, 18-month window.
And yeah, I heard you talking about this the other day.
and then refinance out of it in due time.
Yeah,
so
now the time's hurting them.
well, so they sign up for this little adjustable loan, this little bridge loan that starts off with this real sweet interest rate. Maybe it's interest only, a lower interest only rate. You know, you're not having to pay any principal. And it helps them out a lot while they're trying to stabilize that and get it right. But then you got to refinance it or it balloons to, you know, whatever it is, prime plus 2, whatever it is, which would be 7 or 8% then. The equity that they raised for the down payment, they're giving a preferred return on. So they're giving a 7, 8% preferred return on that money. And then interest rates balloon from 3 or 4 to 7.5. And they get principal piled onto them at the same time. And their goal was to refinance onto a rate lock debt, like some permanent debt. But they went
hurting them now.
Oh, it's
killing them.
It's probably killing them. I mean, because they've got this preferred return they got to pay out, and they've got you know, interest that's going to balloon on them, and they've got to refi, and the only products that they could refi into are in the 6s or 7s, and it's got principal with it, and so they're just sitting there and they can't get rents to a high enough level to cover it, and on top of that, they're probably up against an appraisal. They probably bought this in a 4 or 5 cap rate environment. You know, and so A-class properties were trading at a 4, you know, some of them at a 3. You know, B-class was trading at a 5, maybe a 6 at the worst. You know what I mean? But now they're in a 7 or 8 cap environment for the little B-class property, so they're not even going to make appraisal on their refi.
So it's the time really that is killing them,
and could be in technical default on top of that because of the cap rates going up. The softening of the cap rates could put them in technical default anyways because now they don't have enough equity on the deal.
So you thinking all the Class A is going to wipe out?
I didn't say Class A. I just said Class B. I'm talking about I'm talking about the guys like us, right? But that are doing 140 units.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's 140 units at $100,000 a door? 14 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They go buy 140 units, got deferred maintenance on it. They got to line all that out, and they're going to do rent increases. Those apartments are going to be hurt. Think about the apartment you live in. The apartment you live in right now, it's not a Class B property. It's a Class A Waco property.
Yeah.
A newer build. But are they going to be able to raise rents?
No, I mean, not in Waco. It's just the market's not there.
I mean,
I disagree.
in this apartment, they're not going to be able to raise rent. They're going to be plateaued there for a while. Braxton, are you going to live there?
Yeah. Like, I mean, if they raise rents, I just wouldn't. I'd go to the waterfront one. That's right down the road from
the office. He would go to the $1,300 a month waterfront one. That's just
to save $50 a month and have a much better location.
Yeah, he's got options.
You might as well do that now.
Could you move home with your parents?
Yeah.
If rent got too much, would you be like, yeah, just go live with Pam and them?
Yeah.
I wonder what Pam will charge. What do you think Pam will charge you rent?
I don't know.
She knows you're paying $1,600 now, so you might.
She would. I don't think I'm getting that one free.
You're definitely not getting it free unless you're in a bind. But
I bet it's $1,000.
Oh hell no.
1,200 at least.
I ain't moving.
Look at
in
that smile.
1,200.
1,200 at least. Mom, that's unfair.
You think you can get it for $750?
That's probably.
Pam, put in the comments what you would charge.
What that
Braxton.
rent rate is.
Yeah, let us know what your charge, Braxton.
Go back RV life. Okay, never again.
But what I'm saying is,
It's a cold life.
when that property's plateaued on rents, and all multifamily without A+ location, A+ amenities are going to be plateaued on rent. When I'm driving up 45 today, Ennis, Texas has 600 units about to come online. Well, okay, I like that. I hate that for the builder because he don't have permanent debt on it. He don't have that good debt. He's got to do a lease up and get away from that thing as fast as possible as soon as it starts making money. So that's going to be an opportunity for somebody to step in and buy a Class A property as far as deferred maintenance, but it'll be a Class B location because it's Ennis, Texas, and it's probably 600 units. It's close to Buc-ee's. It's got that going for it.
There you go.
But that's gonna be affected. If you could live in a single family home, even though you can get a 3-2 apartment, right, for $1,900 a month. It's got a pool. It's got a bar. It's got a workout room.
Did he call your mom?
Brent, yeah.
Did Brenton call your mom?
He
No, he
might
just
have. I
knows
don't
Pam.
know.
He just knows Pam. I mean, she might be like it's lesson time, but either way, you got all those amenities. You would live there, right? With the amenities, except for the fact you got 4 kids.
Right. There's no. That's what I was fixing to say. There's no way I would, because that yard means way more to me. A fence, I just know they got to be in the backyard, and if I hear them out front, I got to go look out front. Like, that's worth way more.
And while amenities might matter to Braxton right now,
They will eventually.
well, no. I mean, amenities might matter to them. A swim up bar, a workout facility, a place to go podcast.
My kids don't need that.
We're not talking about your kids. We're talking about
Not
Braxton. We're talking about Braxton.
Not yet.
Slightly different demographic.
Yeah, we're talking about Braxton, the single male that's
Do you go to the swim up bar?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have one?
There's pool.
Is there a swim up bar?
But
I
we're
was
talking
going to
about
say I'm moving.
we're talking about the amenities. Do you like your house?
Yes, my house.
Now
Let's tell everybody about my house.
you got a pool.
Yeah, I have a pool.
What's it cost to
house.
maintain it?
$200 a month.
$200 a month maintenance fee on the pool. You got the mortgage. You no high property taxes because you're a veteran. Thank you for your service. But that entire experience of maintaining that house and maintaining that square footage to have that pool, right, is worth it because you have a wife and kids.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
You're single.
Hold
on.
No. At my age,
At your age,
single, no kids,
single, no kids,
I'd want what I got.
you would still want the pool
You're
to yourself.
balling out, Rob.
I'd
We
want
all
what I
know
got.
it.
But it'd be
Rob,
empty. He'd have
Rob.
like no furniture, just a
You
giant
would be
TV.
in the
Yes.
heights.
I know.
I'd
We'd all
want
live
what I
like
got
that.
right
There's a
now.
couch
I did.
and a giant ass TV.
I had a 2,200 square foot house for him at Madeline.
You would never go as
did-
a
it-
single man with the income you're making right now.
You're in the heights, Rob. We know it.
You wouldn't go live in the heights.
No.
And take an elevator
No.
to the pool.
Nope. Wouldn't do it.
You're crazy.
I don't like apartments. I've
don't-
never
I don't
lived.
like
I've lived
I
in
don't-
one apartment my
You
whole
just the perspective's wrong because you're married right now.
Yeah, that's all it is.
If you're
life.
balling
I've owned
out,
5 houses.
Dude,
I've owned 5 houses.
I would live.
Hold on. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 houses.
If until I became the creepy old guy.
And I was single on 4 of those.
I wouldn't. When I was living in apartments in College Station, and it's relative, but I felt like I was a creepy old guy when I was 23. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'm the creepy old guy at these apartments. I got to move. But that's the only thing that got me out of there.
I've
and
owned-
now looking back, if I knew what I knew now, I'd have stayed till I was 29.
because now you're the creepy old guy. Now you would go back.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it was
even
totally,
better.
It was totally appropriate at 29 to still live there, go to the pool and play sand volleyball all day.
No,
Get
my
hammered.
my sister said the same thing when I moved to the Woodlands. When I got out of the military, she was like, "Why don't you go get an apartment?" I was like, "I don't want an apartment." I was like, "I'm not paying somebody else's rent for them." I was like, I'm gonna," and literally, I only owned the house 18 months. Met Madeline and sold it. Made about 25 grand off of it.
You're too mature for me, Rob.
I'm sorry.
You're too mature for me.
Every house that I've owned, I've made money off of, except for the one in Tennessee, and I bought it in 2011 and sold it in 2015. So I was there about 4 years and literally lost money on it. I lost about $5,000.
I never lived in an apartment except for when we were in high school. We lived there one
And I don't know how I
for my
lost
dad's
money
job.
off of it, but it just the comps didn't go up.
Jason brought up an apartment.
There was
he
no
lived in
appreciation.
when he was a child.
We were in high school. I since then I've never like after I graduated, I bought that house in Stephenville, and then everything after that was a house.
Yeah, but you've been married what?
No, I mean,
40 years, right?
my parents helped me get that one in college. It's $23,000 house.
You've
We
been married
fixed
like
it
what, 40, 50 years, right?
No, 10.
Yeah, at
But
least
y'all
40
are,
or 50
y'all are,
years.
hold on. Y'all are sitting here literally having a debate about what amenities you would want, and I can't. I know y'all
No,
are both married, and y'all gotta toe this line. But you're telling me
At 40, I would want to live there. At 20, I didn't. I wanted to live in a house like him. I was like, yeah, I just want a house.
y'all are way too mature for me.
Like,
If they had the amenities that at apartments
So,
that they have now,
yes, if I was a single guy now, I would want to live there
but why?
because I get all the convenience of it.
The
I can just leave. I
convenience.
don't got to mow a lawn. I don't
Don't
got
have
to
to
do
mow
nothing.
a
I'd have a
grass.
dog that weighed this big, and I'd call him a cat. Like it would be It would be not like
I
that
don't know.
would be my
Just
life.
apartments.
I would get
apartments-
hammered and
Yeah.
wander down the breezeway and see a mattress and throw that bitch in the pool.
But
Meet a girl while I'm down there. Be like, "What are you doing?" I'll be like, "I'm redoing this pool."
I've always thought that apartments of trying to. I know where you're going with this, like trying to meet people at apartments, like or meet like your future wife at an
No.
apartment. Is-
There's no future wife on this menu.
Yeah,
Not at
no.
our age.
You're
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
that's-
in my
that's true.
20s.
Yeah, and there's a future wife for him. He can be there, but the only thing I'm saying is the amenities in the Class A apartment will be what sells it to somebody with means. But as soon as you get demoted at work, or as soon as you get, something changes, you're going to get out of that situation because you're not going to value the amenities as much in a down economy as you are the extra money in the bank. It's a scarcity thing. It's like, oh look, I need to conserve. I living here is costing me more. I'll go live with my dad for a little bit. You know what I mean? And save a little money. Now I'm talking about the 20-year-olds with means that are living in these apartments. I think that there's going to be less renters, definitely less families. The families that are living the apartment experience, or the new families are living the apartment experience, if they got that house at the same price, they're going to pick the house.
Yeah, they're gonna
Every
get-
time.
yeah.
So an apartment is like a transitory thing for them.
I've lived in one apartment and I lived there for 9 months and I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm gone.
Well, I don't know. I just think apartments are going to suffer in this. I think the Heights that Grant bought, I think they're going to explode. He projected $1,800 a month rent is what he projected. I think they were at $1,600. He projected $1,800.
is that for 2 2s, 2 1s?
No, these are like 3 2s. He's got everything. I think he's got studios to 3 2s. I mean, these are nice. 600 units in the Heights, rooftop pool, bar, restaurants in the bottom. But the houses around it are $1 million homes. So he is right. If you want to rent in a neighborhood with $1 million experience, if you want millionaire neighbors, you want to walk, you cannot buy that house in that neighborhood for what you can rent that apartment
Right.
for. I'll bet you he ends up north of $3,000 a month for those in this economy, simply because Houston is so insulated from a recession because oil prices are high, medical area. It just ain't going to experience a recession in that area.
A lot of infrastructure.
But the interest rates are going to keep people from paying the money to buy that $1 million home in that neighborhood. They're gonna sit it out, so it's going to increase the demand of those apartments.
Well, there's for sure families that'll move in there to get in at that price range just to be in those good school districts.
Good school districts and nice neighbors. So they're going to rent through this law, and he's going to have rents that go from, what he projected $1,800 a month to $3,500 a month or $3,000 a month minimum, because people will want to live there. Rob can't see it. He's like, I would never pay $3,000 a month to live in an apartment complex.
Never.
But
Never.
look at what PITI is on $1 million home. FHA now you can get in one for 3% down or whatever because they just upped the limit.
That's wild.
So look at a
first-
$970,000 loan, and see what debt service is on it at 7%.
So let's talk about that. I literally had this discussion with one of my appraisers. Like we're fixing to order an appraisal on like a $3 million property, right? It's a new build. So anyway, I actually said to him, I said, what is it going to take for us to get something like this? And he said, Rob, I don't think either me or you. And he's like, I've only known you for a couple of years, but I don't think you would thoroughly enjoy that. And I sat there for a second. I said, you're absolutely right. I don't need. I wouldn't want $1 million home ever, unless it's tied to land. Like it could be a $200,000 house and the land cost $1 million, then I'd do that. But not a 60 foot lot with or 80-foot lot with $1 million home on it. No,
I get what you mean.
not doing that.
Like I feel like the land, it's a different experience that you're getting.
Yeah, I mean,
$1 million home right now, 7% interest loan in Texas with Texas taxes. And I don't know about this insurance policy. Insurance $3,500 a year. You think that insures $1 million home?
No.
Think
But
it's
it's
higher?
5K.
We're at 3,500, but with Texas taxes, PITI on that's $9,200 a month.
No,
not
thank
bad.
you.
It's not bad.
No, thank you.
What's the difference in that at 4%?
Let's look. Well,
Half?
shit, it reverted.
Half-ish.
Do what?
Wouldn't it be half?
It'd be about half of that.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
At
either.
4%.
It's only $7,400 a month. It's $2,000 a month difference. But
The taxes are still going to be
the
the same.
taxes on that is what's killing it. But that
Now,
neighborhood.
take the taxes out. Can
What?
you do that on that? Take the taxes out.
Yeah, I can take
P&I.
that out.
At a current rate mortgage.
Well, I mean, taxes are $3,000 a month.
Not for him.
Not for me.
That's what I'm saying. But
Brack, you
Hold
might
on,
want to join
hold on.
the
I may change my stance on this. Hold on just a second.
4,900.
I might change my stance on this.
So
house.
that's at 4% interest.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be $2,000 higher. But that's the reality of that neighborhood and what he bought. So the people that were buyers. I mean, it kills a ton of home buyers. It wipes them out in that price point. Because they're gonna wait. They're not gonna want to. The biggest thing is they're gonna have to put a lot of money down to get the payment that they want. And going into a recession, what does everybody want to do?
They want to pull their cash back.
They want to
hold it.
They want to hold it. They want to
hold
see it in
their
the
cash.
bank.
Yeah, it's protection. It's blind protection, but it's still protection.
It's protection.
It's like, oh, here's my blanket. I have it here in case something bad happens.
Yep.
Which is the opposite way to think. You actually need to put that money to work in a down.
I mean, it would be the time to buy.
What if you
There's
have the
God.
money or
There's God again.
don't have the money? Either way, does the potential equity not match the savings of living in the apartment?
No.
Because I get the recession thing.
Well, people are going to sideline and be conservative, and when they're conservative, they want to rent. It just feels better when I'm renting. When I'm renting and I lose my job, what do I lose?
Nothing. I don't lose
Let's say
anything
you
except
have the
for,
money.
hey, I've got to go live somewhere else
Yeah,
because I can't pay this rent.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, it's safer because you're not tied to a mortgage that now you got to sell it either quickly to get out of it, or hopefully you find another job even quicker.
yeah.
I mean,
But what I'm saying is the mentality shifts, and like we talked about it before, the run up in prices was next full philosophy. I mean, I seen investors buying stuff at retail that they were just hoping that they could tack on $30,000 and find a retail buyer that would pay more. It's like you'd pull a comp, and they were having success in core areas. In certain areas of Dallas, you'd pull a comp and you'd see something that sold for $570. You know what I mean? Say that's the price point. Sold cash one day on market, and you would feel like you could pay $500 for it. You know what I mean? Even though the comps are only saying $570, people felt like, oh, I can buy this for $500, because in between now and the next time that same property is going to sell for $650.
yeah.
And they were kind of like next full, and it was just like a stair step up. Well, those peak purchases for people are terrible, because if you bought that investment property, you're probably haven't lost a whole bunch of equity, because the equity that was there wasn't real. You know what I mean? But you're probably going to have to sell it for a loss because you got to pay closing costs. You know what I mean? So you could probably still sell it for what you paid for it, but you know what I mean? Not near as easy. So, anyways, I think this market's been pretty interesting. You seen a lot of payoffs come in?
Actually, a little bit uptick since the last time we talked. We've had a few that are actually refinancing, that we've helped refinance through our DSCR program.
That's good.
So we've had a lot of success with that. A lot of big loans that we're getting off our books by helping these clients refinance. On
They
the
putting
DSCR.
tenants in?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, everybody's talking about it. I mean, right now is the time to buy rentals. I mean, it's just like you just said, this last 45 minutes. People aren't going to buy real estate in case, hey, I lose my job. Hey, it's a tough time. Hey, I want to put my cash in the bank and and just hold on to it and have my little my little blanket that I can go to sleep every night and know that it's sitting there doing nothing for me. I mean, people's way of thinking is flawed. They need to, especially in this market, keep your money working for you. You know,
I mean,
and if you want it to be safe, you can always give it to Jet Lending. We'll give you a return on it.
what kind of return?
Oh, I'm not going to talk about that.
Come on now.
Come on now, 6 to 8%. How about that?
I
It's
like
better.
it.
You take that deal?
I'll take that deal.
I'll take that deal. You take that deal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
good money.
It's funny how people will sit there and hold that money in their account.
Get a 0.5% in their
You
bank
get
account.
0.5%. It literally took me a year and a half to convince my wife. We had a large sum of money from selling real estate. A large sum of money that she sold her house. I sold mine.
Yeah.
Huh?
How's your liquidity now, Rob?
Oh, it's good.
How you want 12%?
Yeah, you want 12%?
You want 12? Hell yeah, I want 12.
We'll talk.
Let's talk.
We'll talk.
Let's talk. But it took me a year and a half to convince her and get her out of that mindset of, oh no, it's just sitting in the bank. I can see it. It's safe. I'm like, you could see it over here too. They'll send you.
You can drive by it. You can literally drive by your money.
You could drive by it. You could do whatever you want.
Touch it.
Yeah, you could touch. You can come in Jet Lending anytime you want.
Well, I mean, the best thing about owning real estate is, if you got a wife, if you own real estate, it makes it real hard for her to spend all of the money.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like
she's not a big spender, so
that's good. That's good. But we know. I've known a lot of guys that worked in the oil field that thought they were rich and found out they were poor.
Yeah,
I was like,
that happens overnight.
I was like, whoa, what? He's like, I thought we had all this money. She's been spending it all on what, bro? Like, you can't spend all that money.
Hey, Louis Vuitton's cost, man.
Nah,
hair,
It's all the little
nails.
stuff that, I saw this on Etsy. Yeah, I got to buy.
No, it's criminal.
It's criminal.
It's criminal.
It's criminal what they're
It's
doing.
still a few $1 million from a dude. That's criminal.
Well, that is.
You can't buy that. You can't buy Etsy trinkets for a few $1 million.
Ooh, well.
She
I mean, those Amazon purchases that up.
No.
You'd see it. You'd notice
We're
it.
talking about millions of dollars. We're talking about total.
Yeah, I've never had that kind of money.
We're talking about them going down to the Galleria and walking out of there with $200,000-$300,000 worth of clothes.
Louis Vuittons,
sending it somewhere.
some
You
Balenciaga.
don't know where it is. And waiting for the day that she can leave his sorry ass.
Her and the pool boys,
Oh, there's no
account.
poor boy. She's got a new daddy on her mind at that moment. The women ain't built for pool boys. Pool boys are just, you know what I mean? They got nothing to offer. They anyways. I've seen that. I've seen that.
Pool
I've seen
boys
that
do
a
have something to offer for Corey Thompson. He loves them.
This is true, but I've seen that happen a bunch of times. But the my oil field buddies, it's always kind of the same song and dance. You know what I mean? Blue collar guy goes and works away from
Makes
home.
good.
Makes good. He's never faithful to her, but for some reason he's mad when she's not faithful to him. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right,
His girlfriend's living in an apartment he's paying for.
yeah, like okay, bro. That's interesting. But anyways, and then he's a victim. He's a victim whenever she runs off with the money and gets the good child support and the spousal care. There's a guy I worked with, the bar we own, and have you seen the bar we own?
Mm-mm.
So
Y'all own a bar?
it ain't open, but it was the first bar. I was 14
I feel like
years
we
old.
need to get that license and open.
I feel like if it's just sitting there doing nothing, I feel like you absolutely need to do something with it.
Anyways, the first bar I played pool in, when I worked
Did
in
I
the oil
strike a
field,
nerve?
there's a guy named Brandon, not Brandon Nemi, but another dude named Brandon, and top-notch hand, super faithful guy, and I mean just unbelievable good human. Gets on a job on a drilling rig. He was new. Next thing you know, he starts hanging out at that bar, and got to drinking. And next thing you know, his wife with 4 kids was back home, but he had hooked up with the bar star, and I can't remember what her name was, but and he was like from Arkansas or somewhere. And
What's a bar star?
You know, Stacy's mom.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's with the bar star.
I don't know who Stacy's mom is.
I mean, she's like the bartender there.
Yeah.
But she's the bartender there that, if you're local,
She's a nun. Yeah.
But if you're from Arkansas, you might not know, but you're about to find out. And he left his wife for her. And this was my first lesson. This was my, I was younger. I was in my early 20s. I might not even been 21 yet. And this dude's like, yeah, I'm paying 60-something% of my check to her for spousal support while we go through this divorce. Like, garnished from his check. And he was making himself out to be the victim. And I was like, but you got caught cheating with, like, the local bar star. You know what I mean? Like,
Why are you surprised, homie?
Yeah.
like, what did you think
Why
was
don't you-
going
why
to
don't you-
happen?
There ain't no
Why
judge
don't
going to
you
be
wake
like, oh,
up
I get
and
it.
smell the coffee?
I was
every
like,
day?
what did you think was going to happen? Like, this doesn't work out in your favor. Like, they're going to tax you. But when that happened, I was like, man, he was married. You know what I mean? So, like, in my young mind, I just blamed it on the marriage part. I was like, oh, if he wouldn't have been married, they'd have just broke up.
Yeah.
There'd have been no spousal support. If he wasn't married, he'd have just had the child support. So, anyways, pretty interesting. But yeah, that was heavy on my young soul, and that's why I didn't get married.
Dude, there's when we were down at Homa, I worked with this like 60-year-old electrician guy, long hair. That electrician. Everybody knows that guy. He had a wife and a family at home, and he decided to hook up with a 20-year-old bar star, got her pregnant, and then just all the cards start falling like everywhere. That poor dude's life is still just wrecked.
Well,
And that's all his choices. Like, we were all like, I don't think that's a good idea, bro. You got a nice wife, you got an RV, a house, like all that gone.
I mean, I feel bad in a way, but at the same time, seeing to see that in my 20s is impressionable. Like, that's how I've remained single this long.
Remained
Not
or
married.
chosen?
Not married. I've never been married.
Remained or chosen?
No, I've never been married. Married being the key word there. Not
Okay.
single, but never
But
been
my
married.
question is, remained or have you chosen to remain single?
I made an active decision to never get
Active
married.
decision. Okay.
I was like, at the one time I was going to jump into that fire, it was going to be a big mistake, and I'm glad it went south. And then that further, I was like, well, I'm not built for it. You know what I mean? Like,
There's people that are built for marriage, and there's people that are not.
I'm not built
There's
for it.
nothing to be ashamed of on that at all.
If like, let's say that a bad idea came up today. If a bad idea came up today, Rob, think about the worst idea you come up with.
The worst idea?
Yeah, well, hold on, nothing criminal, but the worst idea. Like, where could we go from here? That's a bad idea.
Strip club.
You could come up with that terrible idea,
Yeah.
and be like, Corey, would you? And I would fight it because I'm 40 now almost. I'm 38, so I'd be like,
But he'd
oh,
fight
no.
it for 4 or 5 minutes.
But eventually the peer pressure is going to win. I'm going to end up with stripper glitter in this mustache. You know,
See, I don't let peer pressure get to me though.
that's because you're built for marriage.
Yeah.
But I would not. Like,
What?
if that came up, I'd just be like, all right, I'm going home. See ya.
Yeah, because you're
would
built
be
for
too.
marriage.
I would be too.
So Rob might have the idea, and only Corey ends up going.
But let me tell you why. It's not the whole thing is the juice worth the squeeze.
Exactly.
It's
I love
not
that
worth
saying.
it unless I called and asked permission, or not even permission. Just say, hey, look, me and
That's
the
a respect thing.
Yeah, it's a respect thing. Hey, me and the guys are thinking about going to a strip club, and what do you think? And if she said, no, I want you to come home, I'm going to say, okay, I'm coming home. If she says, go have a good time, I've got permission. Now it's not worth the argument later. It's now flip side of that. Let's always just say, hey,
What's the toxic answer she can do? Oh, just do what you want. Just do what you think's
that's
right.
the go home answer.
no, that's the go home answer too.
Whatever you think, is right.
If
Yeah.
you think that's okay,
Yeah.
I'll be home in 45 minutes. See ya.
Yeah, no, or that's fine.
See, I mean,
If she ever responds with "that's fine,"
Okay, I'm on my way home.
on
Thanks
my way
again.
home.
It's got to be I go have fun with the boys tonight. I'm going to be busy. I had stuff planned anyways. If you get that answer, that's a go.
Yeah, that's a go.
I mean, that's all good for you. I mean, I'm going to be a no until I'm a yes, and then, I mean, let's face it, it's not in my personality to go to the strip club.
It's not in mine either. I just gave up.
No,
Hold on.
We all know where this is going, and not spend
a lot of
$3,000.
He wouldn't say it's not his age to go to the strip club. It was
Like all of us know exactly where that's going.
Like, how am I going to half-ass this experience? Like, you know what I mean?
He's going all in, huh?
Like, I'm getting $3 farts in the mouth.
Nobody will ever say Corey
Be
don't
like,
put out.
Where's the exotic menu at? Oh, really? Y'all will just walk on me in the back somewhere, just stomp me like grapes. Yeah, I'll take that. I want one of those, one of these, one of those. And then
That's
next
funny.
thing you know, and so I
Shows up with candle wax in his beard the next day.
like, what,
I don't want to talk about it.
why you got a black eye? Whoa. Real question is, what happened to all my money? Like, at some point, I think I got jumped and robbed.
We made it to the ATM.
Yeah, that's one place you'll always make it. So, I mean, I'm just not. I'm not. And then, you know, imagine my wife leaving me over
Well,
that.
but there's so much subtlety to it from being the built for marriage side too, right? Because you have to understand that there's just times where stuff like that's just not appropriate or worth asking.
But you see other people like.
Well, so, I mean, let's dive into a little bit about being built for marriage. Marriage is one of the hardest things that you can ever do.
For sure.
It
It's
is
a lot of work.
It is the hardest thing. I don't care what you have done in your life until you get married. It is constantly working at it, but it's worth working at. And if you keep working at it and you keep communicating and keep telling each other, the honeymoon phase is all great. We're coming out of that honeymoon phase, and the work is starting to begin. And that's where the hard part of figuring out, you know, hey, I don't like this, I don't like this. When you first get married, everything's fine, everything's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. You're all in love, and you're having babies, and blah, blah, blah. But when those babies start to get complicated things, and then you yourself start complicating things with work and not spending enough time with the family, and I'm not giving them enough attention, and you go through that stuff yourself. You have to slow everything down and say, okay, look, this is not working. Let's shift focus and start working on this. And, you know, I can give examples, but at the end of the day,
Go ahead, man.
being built for marriage, some people have that in them, and some people, they should never put a fucking ring on their finger.
Well,
Ever.
I've hung out with Rob and his wife at the bar. Where were we? We were something we got to go to concert. It was an Aaron Watson concert.
Was it? No, we
yeah.
haven't been to Aaron Watson.
I swear to God, we were at Aaron Watson.
No, me and you have not been to a concert together.
Yes, and you were on your best behavior.
No, that was at
Man, why
the
are you trying
holiday
to out a
party
dude
last
like
year.
that?
That's
You're never that nice.
No, we were at that place that Jet was having the event at for a little while. Y'all got Aaron Watson tickets. Jet got Aaron Watson.
Oh, that's
tickets.
right.
And
That's
we
right.
went, and I was like, Rob, why are you on your best behavior? And he's like, last time we were here, my wife got me in a fight. And I was like,
No, last time we went out, not there.
and I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know. He's
So
just
we can
like-
tell that story. So
I was like,
So literally, one Friday night, no kids. We're sitting outside with some friends. I said, let's go country dancing. I haven't been country dancing. Me and my wife are brand new, right? So we go down to this place called Whiskey River, which is right down by the house. And we're sitting there. We went super early, so it's still the old people.
Hey, you still got time for the dance floor?
Yeah,
There's
the dance
not a
floor.
bunch
We
of
went.
people out there?
I think we
That's a
were in
good
there
time.
like 8:30.
That's a great time.
That's way early. Like, so, we get in there. We're starting dancing. We got our stuff set up at the bar. Blah blah blah. You know, we go dancing a little bit more, and then you start seeing the crowd start to come in. Well, we were out on the dance floor, and we'd had a few drinks. We had a few drinks, and we're out on the dance floor. And we go over and we ask these people that were sitting in our seats. Our stuff was there, like my phone, her purse, everything was sitting right there by the bar. And we said, "Hey, this is our area. We kind of got set up here. Do you mind if we get our seats back?" One of the ladies said, "Oh, that's fine. You know, we'll go somewhere else. We didn't see this stuff here." And one of them said explicitly, "We're not getting the fuck up. Fuck you."
no, one of them. This is a male and a female.
Female, two females. So I was like,
Seems nice.
I was like, well, there's no reason to be impolite. We were just here. Do you mind getting up? And, you know, this is our place. She said,
How dare you, you aggressor?
yeah. She basically said, fuck you, white boy. I said, okay. When my wife heard that, she done had a bunch of drinks. She said, don't you ever fucking talk to my husband like that again. And here comes
in
the
there,
second,
dude.
yeah, here comes the second girl with the beer bottle. that's fixing to hit my wife over the head with a beer bottle. So I grabbed her hand, stopped it, threw the beer bottle down on the ground, and then pushed her to the other side of the bar. Like, literally, she flew 5 feet. I mean, she weighed about 110 pounds. Now, I didn't start the fight.
Now,
I didn't start the
But
fight.
you're a dude involved.
I'm a dude involved.
Yeah,
So guess who ends up in handcuffs at the
boyfriend,
front door like I'm at
husband,
the
whoever
principal's
sees.
office?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at the front. This is the first time I've ever been in handcuffs. I'm like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my real estate license. All this
It
stuff.
seems like that's the appropriate amount of jail for your job.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm sitting there and the cops question me. I was like, I didn't do anything. Go check the cameras. I didn't do anything. Go check the cameras. They're like, you're not cooperating with us. I was like, I am a military veteran. He said, I don't give a damn if you're a military veteran or not. It means nothing to me. I was like, aren't you a military veteran? He said, yeah. What of it? I was like, okay. Anyways,
lawyer.
I said, yeah. I said, obviously you just think I hit this girl. I would politely ask you, officer, if you please go check the cameras and see what actually happened. I'll sit here quietly and shut my mouth. So I sat there for about 45 minutes, and he finally came out and said, Mr. Trigg, we owe you an apology. Took the cuffs off. I was like, can I now go see my wife? He's like, yes, but I want to warn you, she's bleeding. And I'm like, I lost it. I lost it. I was like, what? I was like, you take me to my wife right now. The beer bottle had actually made contact, and I didn't know.
So now, fast forward.
Did they arrest that lady that hit her?
Oh, yeah, she went to jail.
Yeah.
So now, fast forward.
So your wife went full Beth Dutton.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
just like
she
cleaning
Beth
house.
Dutton. Yeah.
I
Now,
love it. That's
fast
awesome.
forward.
2 years later.
We're at a bar, and I'm like, Rob, why aren't you having fun? He's like, I can't. He's like, why? He's like, well, my wife's drinking. I got to stay sober. And I'm like, but why? Like, but why? He's like, you don't understand. My wife's drinking. I got to stay sober. I'm like, but why? But why? He's like, I'll tell you later. Just quit bothering me. My wife's drinking. I got to stay sober.
I'm not having a good time. Go away.
Me and my wife. I mean, me and my wife still tell this story. Everybody loves this story. It's
That's a pretty great story.
Yeah,
That's
love
funny
it.
though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a.
like you've met Madeline. She's not an aggressor.
I couldn't see it at all.
At
But
all.
That's so funny that
She is not an aggressor. She is the most like.
I just love that she stuck up for you. It's like, oh, I understand my husband can't knock this lady out, so I got to stand up. I got to get it. I
I'll get her, I'll get
understand
her.
what's going on. I understand that he can't do anything, so I'm going to get in there. Like,
But I
that's
didn't even tell her.
That's a
I was
couple
like,
right there.
I was fisting to turn to her. Let's just get our stuff and leave. No, boop over my head. Like I'm like, babe, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And then this
That's
thing,
perfect though.
Boop, and I'm like, ugh.
That's all you can really hope for,
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to. She's just like, oh yeah, like, just making you take that.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
No, I'm not. She wasn't having it that night. She was not having it.
That's
So
perfect.
I was just like, you know what? That's when I knew that she was the one. And we were already married at the time, but I was like, yep, she's the one. I
Validated.
wanted. Yeah.
Validated.
Yeah,
I had
validated.
my early, I was 21. I was 21. Dating a girl. She's 18, 19. Well, old enough to drink. She was definitely a few years younger than me. And there was a dude in the girl's bathroom.
Oh.
And she come running out and was like, there's some guy in there. He's trying to make out with all these girls. He's just trying to blah, 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 blah. So I went stormtrooping into the ladies' restroom. And there he was. He was just sitting there on the countertop talking on his phone. And I was like, did you try to make out with her? And he's like, hold on. I'm like, no, you're going to talk to me right now about this. Did you try to make out with her? He's like, hold on. I'm like, sir, hang up your call. Did you try to make out with her? And he's like, yeah, what's it to you? And I hit him. And, I mean, it was just like, bang. But he's sitting on the counter, and it's got walls, and it's got, like, the paper towel dispenser there, and he's kind of close to it. So his head bounced off the paper towel dispenser. And then I grabbed him, and it's a girl's bathroom. I've not been in many.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I slammed him on what I thought was a wall, but it's a stall, and dominoed the stalls. So dominoed all the stalls down, and in there, I don't know if she's shitting or pissing or what the fuck's going on, but there's some lady in there, and she was in her 30s, but she comes crawling out of the rubble, and I'm just beating this dude's ass on top of the
In the ladies' restroom.
In the ladies' restroom, on top of the dominoed stalls. I'm just fucking wailing on this dude, and she comes crawling out of the rubble, runs to get a bartender, but we were regulars at the bar, so I'm just beating the piss out of this dude, and about the time I get up, the bartender comes in, to the women's restroom, and his name's Greg. He's still on my Facebook. Anyways, he's like, "Oh my gosh, Corey, what happened?" I'm like, "I don't know."
This guy attacked me, drug me in here
I was like,
against
I
my
don't
will.
know. No, I just said
Said he was gonna rape me.
I just said I don't know. It was him, and I walked out, and my friends, like all the cops and everything, are headed towards the bathroom. Big C's there.
You just gotta get in the car and
Jacob's
go,
there,
bro.
and they're like, "Was that you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh goddamn!" Like, all right, go get the truck. We'll meet you out front. We'll close the tab or whatever. And I'm like, "All right, here." So I go and I drove a yellow F-250 at the time.
That seems about right.
And so I go get the truck and I pull around front. And by this time, the police are getting the dude out. They got him sitting on the deal. And another guy we know, Poteet, he walks up and he's sitting down and the police are talking to him. And Poteet's looking at this guy and he looks up and he sees the yellow F-250 and he comes walking over. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on? Y'all coming here?" Like blah 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 blah. We're at Hurricane Harry's in College Station. I'm like, "Yeah, we'll we gotta leave." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, I'm like, "Well, that guy there." He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I got in a fight with him." He goes, "Oh, you beat him up?" He said, "Yeah." And he said, "They were asking him for a description." And he said, "Yeah, did he have a good deal?" He goes, "No." He said, "The only thing I know about him was he was little and he was mean."
Little mean guy.
I was like, he was little and he was mean. And I was oh God. What a great description.
That's kind of weird. It's like, I feel like when you just got beat up, you're definitely not saying he's little.
Yeah, he was little.
He was huge.
He was like 6'8",
7'8".
man, probably 300 pounds.
I've never ever had my ass beat, but
I have.
I've never.
Never. We were sitting. I was dating this girl.
I'm usually the guy that's trying to calm everybody down.
Oh man,
I've
I've had the brakes beat off of me.
I was dating this girl, and she was the elected drunk driver that night. And she was.
We've all been there too.
So I was 22 or 23, and she maybe just turned 21, but she was the elected drunk driver. So we're in my truck, and for whatever reason, I'm in. Oh, Big C was in the front, so Big C's sitting in the front passenger seat because he's a big guy, and I'm sitting in the back behind him, and she's driving my F-250. And anyways, this dude with a cowboy hat comes walking in front of the truck, and he didn't like something, so he slapped the hood of the truck and started yelling at her. And Cody really tells the story better, because it was like as soon as it happened, they were trying to figure out how to lock the doors to where I couldn't get out, but I'd already got out and snatched this dude and was beating his ass at a red light while she's drunk driving us home. So I'm just beating his ass at this red light and then toss him to the side and get back in the truck. And then the red light's like red for the next 10 minutes. The dude's unconscious, wakes up, starts looking for his cowboy hat. And Big C's like, "No, it's to your left. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you got it." Gets up, puts his cowboy hat back on, takes off, back walk.
Oh my God, dude.
It's like, get the truck, bro.
So I've been lucky enough that got beat a bunch of times.
Never.
The last time I got in a bar fight, it wasn't really a good fight. I was at the bar in Cruces at Graham Central Station, and
Gotta love Graham's.
yeah, my wife, we weren't
franchise.
We weren't dating at the
Not
time.
anymore.
She was there, or maybe we were dating. All I remember is I was talking to this guy, a bunch of ranchers, and this one guy hit me in the mouth, and I'm like, "That's one." So he hit me again. I'm like, "That's two. We don't need to get to three. I'm just here to enjoy my night tonight." And he just stopped and turned around and went back to what he's doing. So I just turned around and walked off and finished drinking for the rest of the night. And my wife's like, "What just happened?" I'm like, "I don't know. That guy hit me twice." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "Yeah, I told him. Third time, we're going to fucking rumble."
He probably feels pretty good too. He's like, "I got 2 hits." He didn't do anything.
He was a little bitty dude though. Like it wasn't good hits. Like it was
It's a terrible feeling though. It's a terrible feeling. Like we're all old
when
and
they
fat
don't
now,
fight back,
except for Rob. Rob's in good shape. But no, like a guy like Spoon. We got into a big melee fight in an apartment complex, and there was a dude. I hit him. Ty hit him. Big C hit him. Matt Shive hit him. Like we all ping-balled this dude.
This is the guy you said is superhuman. Or whatever.
He was superhuman. All of his buddies were knocked out. He was knockoutable. I mean, everybody got a lick on him, and he never went down. And Anyways, the rest of his buddies were knocked out. But it's a real bad feeling when you hit somebody with like your absolute best shot and they're still standing there and you're like,
Well, I was just doing the math because there was like 8 of them. They were all ranchers. This was I'm pretty sure he was the rancher's kid and their fucking whole crew. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to fight. I'm going to get my face stomped into the ground by these fucking cowboys today.
does happen.
And like I was just not drunk enough to do that math. And it worked out. My bluff worked. I mean, but it really was some bitch hits because he was like, la, la. It was terrible. I'm just like, bro, like.
I got my ass stomped one night when I broke my hand on Halloween. I know it was Halloween because I just remember same girl that drunk drove us home was like, I'm not going out with you. You fight every time we go out. I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to fight tonight. Floyd Mayweather had fought Pacquiao. No, not Pacquiao. Oscar De La Hoya. It was the night Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya.
So you're inspired.
We were at
It's like when you watch
Harry's,
Rocky and you're all fired up.
and I wasn't drinking. And next thing you know, a dude that I'd ran across before, been in a fight with him and his bros, recognized me and came for his revenge. And he had his friends. He poured his drink on top of my head. And I was like,
Oh, man.
So mature.
well, I'd promised my girlfriend I wasn't going to fight. You know, and she wasn't there, but I'd made a
So
promise.
you're trying to be nice.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice. I was
Like,
trying to
look,
avoid
bro,
it.
Like, I don't want to do this.
But as soon as he poured his drink on top of my head, I broke my hand on his face and folded him up like a lawn chair because he fell down. I fell down. And I was on top
How
of
did we
him.
get on this?
I just want to say this is the weirdest State of the Union conversation
well,
ever.
this is more like a different generations now. But anyways, we ended up folded up, and his friends started stomping me. I'm on top of him, and I was trying to cover up, and he's unconscious.
That sucks, too.
And I'm getting my head stomped into his head. And there was so many people kicking me, they were kicking him. And the bouncers make it to me, and they pick me up, and they're like, oh my gosh, there's another guy down here. And I'm like, yeah, they beat his ass. Just like, they really fucked him up.
Yeah, you should have seen it. I was trying to save him. Like, I jumped on top of him.
Dude, and that was it. Like, I fucking went back to my friends. I was like, they're like, Jesus, what happened to you? I'm like, nothing. I couldn't get a drink. I'm like, all right. And this one guy come up to me and handed me my hat. He's like, just got kicked off early. I was like, thanks, bro. I mean, just lumped up. Bruises all up and down my body.
Shit happens when you're willing to take a beating sometimes.
Yeah, it was.
Did
it was
Bryce?
not a
I've
good
never
day.
been willing to take one.
I was at a party one night. He's on my Facebook page. We're still friends, I guess, Facebook friends. This guy named Lyle walked up to me and goes, hey. Yeah, he actually walked up to Turner Pollard, this West Texas Cowboy first. He's like, hey, you want to fight? And he's like, no, but Witherspoon does. I said, you're goddamn right. And he commenced to beat the shit out of me. Like, I was so drunk. He just started beating the shit out of me. And I'm like laughing because like I'm that drunk, which made him madder. And he kept beating on me. Just like, it was one of those where I was just happy when it ended. I wanted to high five him and be like, hey, bro, like, I'm just glad this is done.
We're
Going, I really got to pee.
Yeah.
oh
Me
man,
too.
let's
You want to end up?
yeah, let's end it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, subscribe, like all the things. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do a different generations. So you'll be able to catch that in the future. Probably talk more real estate than different generations.
Okay.
What do you? But Rob,
Les-
you got to hit us
Les
with some
Beth Dutton
topics. I
stuff.
want to talk about the Liver King.
Yeah, let's.
Oh, that guy's
I want to talk
awesome.
about fitness, Liver King, and then we'll talk about some other stuff
So,
too.
like, subscribe, and catch Rob's different generations with us
Yeah. I
later.
think the different generations thing's